plenty of games came out in 2018.
Yeah, we played them, but there's also some games that we played that didn't come out in 2018, and you know what? They still hold up.
So here's a list of 5 games that we both really liked in 2018 that didn't come out in 2018.
Hot take! Shane, your hair looks different.
Shh. Okay, so we wanted to make a list about all the games we've been playing in 2018 that didn't actually come out this year because, folks, there's been a lot out there that's actually been kind of worth going back to.
Yeah, it's part of a gamer's life. You know, you play new games, but you also appreciate the older stuff as well. So today, in no particular order, we're going to talk about 5 games that made a huge impression on us.
Yes.
Top 5. Number 5.
All right, so the first game on our list is a title that was made by Game Freak. Now, Game Freak, you may know them as the Pokemon people, because they are the Pokemon people. They do a lot of Pokemon-centric stuff. But Game Freak's been around for a while, and they worked on a lot of games. We're going to be seeing another game from Game Freak for the Switch.
Yeah, Town, right?
Town, in 2019. It's a new RPG from Game Freak. So seeing that announcement, it got me thinking during 2018. I was like, well, Game Freak's made some other types of games. I want to look into some of their back catalog that isn't Pokemon-centric, right? So I did, and I came up with probably one of the greatest platformers I've ever played. Drill Dozer.
Drill Dozer.
Drill Dozer. Remember that name. This game is fantastic. Released for the Game Boy Advance, very, very late in the Game Boy Advance's life cycle. It was released, I believe, after the DS was already out.
Yes.
So a lot of people were like, oh, whatever, we're moving on.
It tends to happen a lot when the next system comes out.
Dude, this game's so cool. They spent a lot of time working on it, and it is one of the only Game Boy Advance games that has a rumble pack in it.
Oh, yeah.
So if your battery still works, if you pick this up and the battery still works, you get a little rumble. The rumble's important because, you know, it brings you into the game. One of the main mechanics of the game is that you have a drilling robot that your character uses. The way that you use that robot within the game is fantastic. You're using a gear system, and you're switching between gears to, let's say, break down a wall. Okay, it's destructive. But you're also doing other things, like you're unscrewing different items within the environment. You're using your drill to, like, cling to, like, moving elevators and stuff. It's very... I could see the board meeting in my head. They're like, we have a drill! What can we do with a drill? And they're just like, you can do all of this. And they're like, okay, that's all going into the game. So there's a bunch of drill-centric mechanics. You fight bosses. What are you going to do to kill them? You drill.
Kill 'em.
Yeah, there's like nuts that you drill. And there's tunnels. There's tunnels. Okay, well, what are you going to do to go through the tunnels? You drill. Oh, there's water sections. What are you going to do within the water? You drill, and you have a little propeller. And it's just... this game is beautiful. Okay.
Honestly, this sounds like the kind of game that you should make a much longer video about.
I was.
I know. And you still are. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I can't say enough about this game because, like, when you think of a platformer, you're like, yeah, you're jumping here or there, but they spent so much time and effort making the systems work perfectly in this game. Sprite art's beautiful. Your character's name's Jill. Her father is like the head of a thief organization stealing diamonds and stuff. He winds up getting the crud kicked out of him in the very beginning of the game. So you, his daughter, you jump into the drill dozer, and you're just this like tiny little pink girl in this freaking mech drilling stuff. You're trying to get back a gem that your mother gave to your father. So there's, like, despite it being like a cutesy and like fun like action platformer game with puzzle elements, there's some heart there. There's some moments in there that are like, oh, it's very sweet. I couldn't suggest you guys play this enough.
Number 4.
Hey, Shane?
Yes.
I've got another game, and we're seeing a lot of kind of retro-themed or styled games recently.
Oh, yeah. There's
Sprites.
been, like, a ton of them coming out.
Yeah. And I'm really looking forward to a game by Derek Yu, the creator of Spelunky, UFO 50. Remember?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so we have a lot of people kind of looking into releasing either old styles of games or collections of old styles of games. And there's a game that was released a while ago for the Nintendo DS that was doing this. way before everyone else.
And nobody at all paid attention to it because
it didn't sell in North America.
Because it's based off of a Japanese show called
Game Center CX.
Now, this is a really fun show where the host basically sits there and he's forced to play a game completely, and he usually makes it all the way through.
Right.
But it's like it's a torture run for him and everything. It really is one of the most fun Japanese shows I've ever seen for video games.
Yeah, so the creators of the show worked together with a dev team, and they came up with it was Game Center CX, the name of the game in Japan.
Yep.
But in North America, we had Retro Game Challenge, and it was published over here by Xseed, I believe. Retro Game Challenge is basically that show, but kind of transformed for your Nintendo DS. Okay, where to start with this? This game is so interesting. It takes Nintendo DS style graphics. You are a character in the game, okay? You are playing Famicom games that were never made. You're playing Famicom games that they're fake.
Yeah.
They're fake Famicom games. So you're playing these games along with the host from Game Center. He's there with you as a child. So you know what this is? This is a simulator of 80s and 90s games. Okay,
not just the games
Right,
themselves.
right.
The experience of playing the games.
Exactly. So not only is this a collection, like I said, of fake Famicom games, racing games, shooting games like Galaga, freaking RPGs that are pretty beefy for being like a little game in a compilation, a fake compilation. But it, like you said, it's the experience of playing games from back then. So, what did we do before the internet? We had like gaming magazines to look up tips. You do that in this game because you're supposed to be reaching specific goals in each game, kind of like what happens in Game Center, right? So maybe you need infinite lives to like get to this part, or you need to skip levels. You have to like insert the codes into these fake games. Not only are there like old game magazines that you look through. By the way, there's interviewing the fake developers in these gaming magazines. Mind-blowing. But there's also manuals for each of these fake games as well. Talk about a love letter to like how we grew up, playing Nintendo games or Super Nintendo games. Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful.
It really is a kind of game, like if you're ever a fan, if you ever played those games growing up and you want to kind of relive that feeling, this is the best way to do it. Right? And it's weird because it's a hard game to
what's
explain.
amazing? It's yes, we're reliving that feeling, but it's from a Japanese perspective as well. But it still resonates. Like they're like whatever laying on the mat on the floor, and they have like the cute little like shelf with all like the manga and then like the games and stuff. And oh man, it's so neat, and it really did bring me back to that time. I believe if you are really into the retro revival that we've been living for, I don't know what the past 7 to 10 years, this game, it feels like it could have kicked that off, but no one really played it in North America.
So it's definitely one to go back and play. Plus, if you get it on the 3DS, you can play it on the 3DS.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's a DS game.
It's not old enough that you can't play it with modern hardware.
Yeah.
Number 3.
All right, so Red Dead Redemption 2 came out very recently, and I loved it. There's a lot to play in that game, but before I got back into playing that entire world, I decided it was a smart idea to go back and play the first game again. Well, technically the second one. There was another
not Red Dead Revolver.
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption.
So I played Red Dead Redemption. Now, the only reason I'm even bringing this up on this list is that there's a good reason that you should be playing this again. This game only ever came out on the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. However, there was an Xbox One version of the game that's basically just the 360 version. But what's really cool about the Xbox One version, it's basically using the backwards compatibility thing that Xbox One has. You can use the original disc, but the game runs better on Xbox One. But if you've got Xbox One X, you can play it at 4K resolution or downscale that on a 1080p screen, and it looks amazing. This is now the best way to play the game, and if you haven't seen the game performing this way, it almost looks like a new title.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
How does it hold up in your mind now that you've played Red Dead?
Well,
I mean, 2,
I'm
the
going to be
newest
honest.
release.
So I did like a lot of parts of Red Dead Redemption 2, but I feel that Red Dead Redemption 1 has a lot about it that still works, and in some cases works a little bit better.
Yeah, it's still gamified a little more, right?
Yeah, like hunting things in Red Dead Redemption 1, I think is actually a lot more fun because you don't have the limitations that you have in Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 2 tried to make things a little bit too real, where Red Dead Redemption 1 still plays a little bit with it. Plus, if you can play Red Dead Redemption 1 on the Xbox One, you'll also be able to go back and play the expansion they did, which was the Nightmare.
Undead Nightmare.
Undead Nightmare. Yeah, and that's like this weird Halloween themed thing.
It's a separate sort of thing, but it was done really, really well.
See, around this time, Grand Theft Auto was still trying to be a little bit goofy and funny, and Red Dead Redemption tried to be a little bit more serious, but there's still a lot of goofiness and funniness there that they still had that idea. So before Rockstar becomes way too harsh and cynical with everything and just like kind of dark, you get Red Dead Redemption in a state that is just a little bit different. So if you're looking to get into Red Dead Redemption 2 and you're kind of not there yet, this is the best way to play the first game. And honestly, I think it still stands out, and I think it's even better now on Xbox One X than it has ever been in the past.
Number 2.
So this collection came out a while ago, and honestly, when it came out, it was broken. It's been broken for years. It wasn't working for the longest time, and I didn't think it was really worth mentioning to people to pick it up. But Halo Master Chief Collection finally got fixed. It's been years
in the making. At least they loved it enough to finish it.
Yeah, but
try to.
Yeah, but here we are. The game works so much better now. On Xbox One X, you have so many new abilities and features. It runs at 4K. What's really crazy about this is you can now run the original Halo in multiplayer for screen at 4K, which means that each individual screen is a 1080p screen, which is still higher resolution than the original game was when it came out.
Holy cow.
Right?
That's stats.
So they've done a lot to make this thing work better.
Yeah.
The game, it loads faster. It's way more stable.
Multiplayer functionality is a little better these days?
Everything's a lot better with it across the board,
Yeah.
and they keep improving it and keep making it better. When this first came out, it was a joke. Folks, everybody knows it wasn't working great. If you picked it up, chances of it just crashing on loading was very significant. Every time I tried to play it, I always found things weren't working. But I recently got to play it again with the new updates, and it really is just one of the best games you can get on the Xbox. It's again, most people talk about exclusives for the system, not being there a lot because you don't find them on a lot of stuff. But the Halo Master Chief Collection is still an exclusive on the Xbox. This is probably one of the best exclusives you can get on the system, and it plays the games better than they've ever played in the past. You can relive the old graphics, you can upgrade to the new graphics, you can switch it on the fly. It just really is solid. And if you haven't given it a shot, if you haven't played it, now's the time to do it because it is perfect now.
Number 1.
In our last game for today, in no particular order, we want to remind the audience of that. It's Nier Automata. Shane,
Okay.
You haven't played Nier Automata yet.
Everyone told me to play it. It's one of those games I missed. There were so many other games that I had to play. And of course, when the guy with the moon costume came out on stage saying, "Hey, this is going to be a good game," I really wanted to see what he had to made.
I feel like Yoko Taro is like a weird sort of symbolic or metaphor for like what this game is. It's just like a weird mishmash of like human and bizarreness. So Nier Automata is a post-apocalyptic game that it has many different gameplay styles to it. Okay, I can say that without spoiling it because within the first like 5 minutes of the game, you're going to know this if you haven't played Nier yet. You start off the game in kind of like a shoot 'em up sort of mode, and then it quickly evolves into what is the meat of the game, which is like an action RPG. Okay, so it's an action RPG. You gain like different armor and different weapons and stuff, but there's a lot of really cool mechanics going on here. So not only is the gameplay being switched up, but like they're doing things with gameplay. With the way that you use games or see games in different ways. For example, you're an android and you can plug in different chips into yourself. Okay, well, you can only allot chips, so many chips to your system. So if you want like a really powerful move or to do something else with your android, you can take out the HUD. You can take out the health bar. You can remove things to make room for other things.
That alone makes me want to play.
That's just one aspect of this game, all right? So this game, without spoiling anything, I think a lot of people know this, when you beat the game the first time around, you get kind of pushed to play it again. And you want to play it again. The story unravels and different gameplay mechanics unravel the more that you play through Nier Automata. I'm not just 2 or 3 times. You're going to be playing through this a lot. So things change. Characters change that you play through as. Game mechanics change. And it is very cool. It's nice. It's nice to see so much care put into the characters of 2B and 9S, which are like the 2 sort of main protagonists.
Fantastic names.
Yeah, well, they're androids, right? They're androids that are trying to take back planet Earth from a looming robotic threat. But maybe things are not quite as they seem. They are not quite as they seem.
All right. Well, that sounds really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely one of the highlights for me in 2018. And dude, you gotta play this. And if you haven't played this, you definitely got to pick it up.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why we wanted to do this list. We just want to talk about a couple of games that you might not even be thinking about playing this year, even next year, but they're good today, they're going to be good tomorrow, and they're worth it, right? Like, Nier Automata, everyone was talking about, and I think it made a couple people's games of the year last year.
Oh, absolutely.
It did for a lot of folks, it really flew under the radar.
Yeah, well, I slept on it too, so yeah, definitely. It's always good to look back at the games from the past, and yeah, there's still a lot of games out there, like we were speaking about some stuff that's like over a decade old, that's doing things that we're not really seeing today. So
or it's relevant today for modern games.
Right. Yeah, maybe there's stuff that comes out today that makes it even more relevant than it was back then.
Well, folks, we want to hear what games you are playing in 2018 that you think were really good, but you kind of missed out in the past couple of years.
Yeah, maybe there's some stuff that we have to play that we don't know that we have to play, so please let us know.
Yeah, we'd love to hear what you're playing today, tomorrow, and maybe yesterday.